that's where community comes in. You never know how your iron is to sharpen another person's iron, but you're not going to know how much better you can be until you find community.
Like the metro, and where we going, only up like falsetto. Yeah.
Listen, y'all, something's always happening in this world, whether it's favorable, whether it's something that we expected, some things that we did not expect that really surprised us. But all in all, we're going to bring it to here on M&M Live Radio with a segment we like to call Don't Be Salty.
Yo, the world's always turning. Good news, bad news, and somebody's mad every time. But here at M&M Live Radio, we keep it real and we keep it moving. So before you pop off, take a breath and remember, don't be salty. Let's go!
All right, Mia, it's a brand new week. Tell me what's got you salty.
Side note, we have the best intro ever. Shout out to Head Crack. That
Yes.
will never get old. Such a great intro.
Love it.
Here's what's got me salty this week. Shout out to my niece Mason. She is 4 years old. I was picking her up from school. And of course, normal toddler fashion, you tell your toddler to do something. And of course, you're expecting to get some pushback. This week, I said, hey, Mason, I need for you to go ahead and get ready to do your homework. And she said, rolled her eyes. And when I tell you something rose out of me, because I was like, first of all, who you talking to? She didn't say anything. I'm like, who?
It was my kid.
Meesa. And what got me was, I was telling Meesa about this earlier. When you're 4 years old, of course you expect like a tantrum, things like that. Oh, I don't want to, the whiny. Of course, things like that. You're 4. I don't expect eye rolling and huffing and puffing until like 12, 13, we're getting into teenage years.
Oh my gosh. So what did you do?
I'm not gonna. I kind of stopped and I looked because I wanted her to realize what she did, but I don't think she did until she did it to me a second time. And I sat up. You know how parents, you won't say anything. Sometimes it's not what you do. But it's not what you say, but it's what you do.
Yeah.
So she did it, and I sat up and looked and leaned forward a little bit, and she's like, oh, let me go do my homework. So she realized what she did. But I was like, man, I'm trying to just think who she got this from. What did she watch that made her adapt this response?
Her doggone daddy.
Her doggone daddy. Shout out to Chemo. But no, I'm not going to lie. That got me mad salty this week. I said, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm trying to figure out how I should even respond because I don't even think she knows what she's doing. Because when I say even roll your eyes, I think she's probably thinking what does that even mean?
Right.
So it's I don't even know how to communicate to her what she just did and how that's wrong. But at the same time, I'm trying to dissect where you got it from, why you think it's okay, where did you see this happen? A lot going through my mind, man.
Am I the problem?
What do you mean?
Hopefully I haven't rolled my eyes.
I don't think you have.
I don't think I have either.
Yeah.
You know what? But honestly, I feel like that's the important thing of being parents and very paying close attention to the cartoons and TV shows. Cause like cartoons and TV shows and their favorite characters, they all have their own little personalities too and interactions with their parents and responses. So I'm gonna have to watch very closely to who she is hanging around and know that that's not okay. Mm-hmm. But don't be salty because one thing I can say is that, Mia, you used to be a child who also had a interesting way of expressing herself. I'm not coming for you. All I'm saying is this. You have been there, done that, and you can teach her how to not and correct her because you guys have a very close connection.
You made it sound like I was a delinquent.
No, you weren't a delinquent. You just had a little spice to you. You were a little spicy
At
taco.
4?
Mia, at 3.
I feel like that's kind of dramatic.
You were. You had a little spice to
you
your
throw
attitude.
a tantrum at Disney World one time, get the whole family kicked out, and they never let it go.
See, at least I didn't say that. You said that. I'm not pointing no fingers.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But one thing I can say is that don't be salty. You have a very great, close relationship with Mason. Mm-hmm. Mason respects you as if you were her own mother, like her second mother. And anything that you say, she takes to heart. Mm-hmm. And I know that if you were to, correct her in any way, it's going to be out of love because you care for her and you want for her to be her best version of herself. So the fact that this is happening with you and you can correct it with her, I have full trust in you. So, hey, correct along. Auntie, don't be salty. It's okay.
I'm getting paid back for the things I've sowed in my past. That's basically what Meesa's saying. Okay, heard. Okay, so Meesa, what you got? What's got you salty this week?
So my husband, I love him so much. I love him. I love him so much. So he's taken on this new hobby, and it's on his iPad. He's discovered that he has a talent and he has a desire to draw. He's trying to be less on social media and do a whole lot less doom scrolling. So he's like, I'm gonna try to pick up something else. So a good friend of ours, shout out to Kennedy, she was like, Kimo, why don't you start just drawing, make some sketches on your iPad? And so he said, yeah, sure. So we've had our good friends from New York. Shout out to Erica and Prem. They came on down and we're just chilling, and Chemo's like, amongst conversation, he's over there with his iPad, and he's like drawing little sketches of us and stuff. Like he drew Prem, and that was a really good, picture that he drew of him. He drew Erica on the couch. He drew the couch and everything, the fibers in the couch. I was like, oh snap, clock it. You look good. I like that. That looks like Erica. Then he shows me a picture of me. And then it looked really good. I just got my hair done. It's nice and full. And I was like, oh, babe, this looks like me. I would get this frame. This looks really, really nice. So he goes an extra step further and wants to draw another different version of me. So I said, babe, show me what it looks like. I look like a baboon and hairy. Mia, look at this. You got to take a look at this. And I don't know, maybe I'm out of touch with my artistic, creative ideas and dreams, and maybe I'm not seeing the vision, but Mia, what do you think about this?
I wouldn't say full baboon. To me, I personally, I think it's giving part baboon, part aardvark. And to me, I think it's very, very decent. And here's why. There's so many things going through my mind.
I got a real strong chin.
Okay, don't be salty. And here's why you shouldn't be salty. One, your eyebrows look great. Look at that, America. That eyebrow looks phenomenal. Chemo really did that. Look, you just got them joints arched. Okay? Two, look at your eyes. The details in your eyes look really good.
They do.
Really in sync.
Look really nice.
The shadows, your nose. I think the nose really looks good. Solo, so alone, away from the face, the nose looks great. And look at that neck. That's the strongest neck I've ever seen.
But look at the hole. I look like Arthur and DW's big sister that came back from college.
I think what you need to observe is that sometimes it's not about the whole picture. Sometimes it's the details of the little things. And the little things are the things that actually came out really strong. Your eyebrows, your nose, your eyes, even the headphones. I'm just not realizing the headphones. So I think there are certain things that really make it stand out separately.
It looks like my name should be Eunice.
Eunice is such a strong name.
I said, babe, what
Shout
happened
out to
the other
Chemo.
one?
He got an art show coming up.
I
real
love
soon.
it, babe. I love it.
Shout out to everybody tuning in. Let us know what got you salty this week. Shout out to our Patreon community, our girl Angela. Shout out to Angela for being a part of our Patreon community. She told us what's got her salty this week. She said home ownership, saving money by staining our own deck, which is at the second level. It is tedious work. Listen, Angela. Listen, we hear you. We know that's got you salty this week. Thank you for sharing with us. And shout out to everyone a part of our Patreon community. If you wish to join our Patreon community, hit the link in the description and we'll be able to read what's got you salty this week.
Yes, sometimes life throws us some curveballs, and sometimes it's things that we don't expect, and sometimes it gets us in our feelings. But listen, you can always look on the bright side. You can always find the silver lining. You can always find something to have joy about. So listen, let this be remembered to you, to don't be salty. Listen, we got some more where that came from. Don't go anywhere. We have a great conversation coming up right here on none other than You Already Know.
It's M&M Live Radio.
Hey, I know you. Come here. I got something to tell you. Do you know that 85% of you are not subscribed to our YouTube channel? What's up with that? Let's go ahead and change that, shall we? Yeah, go ahead and hit that subscribe button below. Go ahead. And then while you're at it, go ahead and hit that bell so that you can go ahead and get a notification every time a new M&M Live Radio episode goes live. We want for you to get the absolute freshest, the best, the newest content when it drops. And we want for you to be notified the moment it comes out. My name is Meesa.
And my name is Meah.
Also known as Eminem, and you are listening to your number one source of inspiration for this generation. You already know it's Eminem Live Radio. We help Christian millennials navigate life by pointing them to Jesus. Meah, what's going through your mind today? How you doing?
It's going really good. I think one thing that I definitely want to shout out is our Patreon community. Shout out to our community, the movement. Meesa and I have started an exclusive community for those who are looking for mentorship, guidance, looking for ways for them to be able to grow in their devotion to God, not by being perfect, but being devoted, making a one step every single day in all areas of their life. And it's been really fruitful being able to lead these women into different avenues, challenge them even in certain areas of our community. And we've been laying the groundwork for our community. And we had a really good conversation with them that's been on our minds that we wanted to drive into them when it came to the community. Yeah. And we were talking about the topic of vulnerability. And Meesa and I were talking about how a lot of the women in our community, they were saying the reason why they joined was because they needed friends. They needed people, accountability, things like that nature. And then so Meesa and I were talking, okay, well, you know, what are some things that we want to impart themes and certain qualities we want to impart into them about what the community is about? And then we were like, we think we should touch on vulnerability a little bit, because how do you get community when you're not being vulnerable?
Yes.
Because one thing about me, I hate surface level conversation. It grinds my gears. If we're talking about the weather, that's cue for me. I need to leave the conversation because we're not getting anywhere. There's no depth into it. And therefore, I feel like I can sense that you don't want to go deep with me when you're not vulnerable. And then you can also sense that I don't want to get deep with you when I'm not vulnerable. So therefore, we're always going to remain surface. So therefore, we're not going to go anywhere. It's going to be a high and by associate situation. So therefore, we're thinking about, okay, when it comes to our community, we want to be able to drive into them. Okay, if you want community, here's the cost of it. And the cost is vulnerability. So we dove into that conversation, and it was so fruitful.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. The response we got out of everyone, they truly opened up to one another. Their homework was that they had to contact one another, and they were really looking forward to it. And Meesa and I were so grateful for that conversation. And we kind of wanted to open it up and go a little bit deeper here on the show.
Yeah.
So I just want to ask you, what has your viewpoint on vulnerability been? Have you always been someone who naturally opens up to people? Were you always guarded? I'm just curious to what went through your mind growing up from your viewpoint of sharing with others, getting deep and opening up.
Oh, no, I was not the one to open up. It seems like growing up for me, and even in my family, we always had to be the ones that were perfect.
Yeah.
You were not the one to share that there was a blemish, there was an issue, you were struggling, there were challenges because you're afraid of what they're going to think about you and then their perception of you. So I always felt like I needed to have a standard to reach and strive to reach, which was perfection. So there were moments where, something was really kind of going on, and I really could have benefited from somebody's help if I were to be transparent and open. But because of how I grew up, and you don't let them see you sweat. Don't let them see you sweat. You always got to make sure that you are above, and you're always a step forward and a step ahead of everybody else. I always kind of covered up. Mm-hmm. It made it seem as if I was better than what I actually was. And it wasn't until I started getting acclimated to a community, and I think this was a faith-based community, where they were like, I can kind of see it on your face. Mm-hmm. Tell me what's going on. I want to help you. And even from that small moment where they were able to share a couple words, I felt so much security in them saying, I can see it. I can see it through you, Meesa. Mm. Like you're dealing with some things. Tell me what's going on. Their tone made me feel safe. Their body language toward me felt safe. I didn't feel like they were going to abuse me and take whatever I was going to share with them. They were going to run with it and share it with somebody else and make me feel, some type of way. I felt very comfortable, and even in the genuineness of how that person spoke to me, I felt like, I really could share something with somebody, because I don't want to go throughout this life alone. I feel like, I've been struggling all this time by myself. Why not share it with somebody who potentially could have the opportunity of helping me? So it wasn't until that moment I thought to myself, I need people in my life. Mm-hmm. I really need somebody to be in my life to walk with me and to encourage me. Even moments where it's like, hey, I prayed for you. I want to send you a little text of encouragement. How have you been doing? Those things mean so much to me now.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, as far as like vulnerability, do you feel like it matters? Because I know that you identify as an introvert, and there's moments where I can imagine you being an introvert, being like, why do we have to talk about this?
Yeah.
What does vulnerability matter to you?
I think now, it matters. I wasn't always this way. Vulnerability has scarred me, and I was not always open to doing so because I personally had an experience young. Insight. I remember there was a time when I want to say I was maybe like in like the third grade.
Yeah.
Told a girl that I liked a boy, and she ran off and told him in front of everybody, and then everybody was looking at me, and I was like, bro, you were my friend. I've said that to you in confidence. How dare you run up to him in the middle of the kickball game and they stop the entire game and everybody runs off to me looking at me, said, I heard you thought you liked me, and I'm just sitting there in the little play chips, crying my eyes. You know what I'm saying? So I was thinking to myself, man, I trusted you. How is it that so now that trust is broken, and then I'm in my mind thinking, okay, well, even I can't even trust like my closest friend.
Yeah.
So to me, I think it would be insensitive to say that there's no risk that comes with being vulnerable. 100%. There is risk because people are people, and that you run the risk of that person opening up betrayal to you. So I don't want to diminish that. I think, however, there's sometimes you don't. Of course, we live in a life where people want to take risks because you see you're either going to get a high reward on it. And I think just vulnerability is one of those things. I think it's one of those things where it's, yes, that person could air out everything. They could dog you out, tell the person that you were talking to them, whatever it is, betray you in that sense. But also, you have a great opportunity to go deeper.
Yeah.
You have an opportunity to gain accountability. You have the opportunity for someone to have insight and really pour into you, into what you're going through. They may even relate to you because sometimes you don't really know what someone else is going through until they open up. So I do think it matters now. I would be lying if I told you that I don't. I'm always eager to be vulnerable. I think there are times where I'm thinking, okay, is this a safe opportunity? Do I trust this person? Is there enough, what is it? I think it's emotional equity.
Yeah.
Where we talked about, there is something that we talked about with Pastor Jeff, that book we were reading, The 7 Habits of
Highly Effective People.
And we're talking about emotional deposits. I will never forget that from that book. And it was so powerful. It was saying the same way how you deposit things into a bank, same way how you put money in, when it's time for you to withdraw, you have things because you deposit it.
Yes.
You're not, if you say, okay, I want to withdraw $500 and you have $3 in your account.
Yeah.
You're not going to be able to withdraw anything. So in the connection, is his name Stephen Covey? I don't remember his name. But Stephen was saying in the book, he said, the same works with people. You have to make emotional deposits into people. So therefore, when it's time to withdraw, because you've made deposits into them, you've texted them saying you've prayed for them, you were open and vulnerable with them. When it's time for you to need something back, they're able to give that to you, that advice, the accountability, the correction. Our pastor was saying earlier how you can't give correction and direction if there's no connection.
Yeah.
We want this vulnerability and things like that, but yet we don't connect with each other. Where we want to be able to correct, and people say this all the time, how rebuking one another and you should do this, but yet you don't have a connection with this person. You don't even know my last name.
Right.
We're just in the same small group. And you are so fixed on always leading and making sure you're telling everybody what to do, but yet you don't even connect with us. But so how can I trust you enough for you to be able to pour into me when you're not even vulnerable?
I love that you even said that, Meah, because we're talking about community and the importance of being transparent, because transparency can build trust within a community. You mentioned a word, relatability, earlier today when it comes to like finding a community. And there's communities all over the world. Like there's pickleball community, there's
single soccer mom
community, homeschool communities, there's faith-based communities, there's sports communities, there's all types of book clubs, like running clubs. There's so many communities out there that you can find yourself to get a part of. But you mentioned relatability. And I think a lot of times when it comes to people finding their niche, finding their tribe, finding their group, finding their community, they either look for two things. And sometimes it can get a little confused. But those two things are relatability and reliability. And in that case, I was kind of thinking about this to myself, like, I mean, what are you looking for when it comes to a community? Is it relatability or reliability? Because relatability to me is like, what do we have in common? What are those commonality things that we kind of share? Like, we're chocolate skinned girls. As far as you and I, we have a really curly hair. We love Christian hip hop. It could be a lot of different things. We're from the same family. Relatability. Maybe you like a certain brand of makeup and I like that certain brand of makeup. Or we always hang out at this one coffee shop every Tuesday or something like that. That's a relatability. We can relate. We have the same backgrounds. We have the same upbringings. But as far as reliability, it's more so, how many times are you showing up for me?
Yeah.
How many times or how many opportunities have I given you to really show that you can be trustworthy, that you can be there for me? With those two ideas, what do you think is most important to you?
Ooh, that's so good. So you said reliability or relatability. I think the things that I've seen is reliability, because I'm thinking of the case of being a middle school girl small group leader, and us, of course, talking to the girls in church.
Yeah.
And because Meesa and I, we co-led it, and we would be doing group, and we had two girls, or we would have two, three, we were growing a little bit, and they wouldn't share, or they wouldn't be transparent, or they would kind of give us like these cookie cutter answers for these small group questions.
Right.
And then Chemo, shout out to him, he would always press us on, make sure you go to these kids' games. Make sure you talk to them outside of group. Make sure you sit in color with them. Make sure you talk to them. Or just really was mainly showing up for them in school and things like that. So, and I don't know, I really would like to build a connection with our girls. And I would see some of them, like, be shy or whatnot. So I genuinely would try to go to things. So I would go to this one girl. Her name was Willow. Shout out to her. I love Willow. And I would go to her plays, and she would text me sometimes, and I would text her back, and I would show up to her award ceremony.
Yeah.
And then I noticed little by little, when we went to our fall retreat one time, she opened up to me about something going on in her family life and her personal life. And I was kind of like, man, like, out of nowhere, she just kind of came up and told me, and I was kind of like, that was what made you want to say that to me? But I'm thinking, I put so many emotional deposits into her, showing up to her game, bringing flowers,
That's
little
good.
things like that. So
Yeah.
I do think it's reliability, because I think it shows that you care, that outside of church, outside of whether I show up for the small group, I care about you, you as a person. So therefore you think, okay, if you genuinely care, not by saying it, but also by doing it as well, it shows, okay, man, I think I can relate to you. I think I can open up just a little bit and let you see into my world. So therefore, I think it opens the door. I think reliability, I've seen that help and work to my benefit, I would say.
That's so good. Listen, we have so much more of this conversation coming up a little bit later on. But also, like, we're going to be talking a whole lot more about, how has a community actually helped you in your life? Stick around, don't go anywhere. You're listening to none other than You Already Know.
It's M&M Live Radio.
I'm better sober.
Radio, turn it up, here we go.
My name is Meesa.
And my name is Meah.
Also known as Eminem, and you are listening to your number one source of inspiration for this generation, and we are going in. As always, here in the studio, thank you so much for tuning in. Listen, we help Christian millennials navigate life by pointing them to Jesus, and we're talking about community and the importance of it and how to build it and all those great things going on here. Meah, we talk so much about community and how important it is for us to open up and be vulnerable and develop trust within it. Has there ever been a moment where a community, the community that you're a part of, helped you?
Yes. And I think the best part about my community aspect is it came when I wasn't looking for it and when I didn't think I needed it. One time, shout out to Anike, she had a birthday dinner. This was probably around, I think, 2021, when COVID was kind of starting to die down. They were starting to open the doors back up for everybody. She had this big birthday dinner at Fogo de Chao. And we sat across from this girl, Chemo and I. Her name was Jordan. Shout out to Jordan. And we were just casually talking. And also, I'm like I said, I'm also a personal person. I feed off a lot of authenticity and people being genuine. So I figured there wasn't enough. It was a loudy room. And Nike had like 40-some people up in that piece.
At Fogo de Chao?
Yes, bro. So many people. And I was kind of like, there's no room for like real. It's really like if you know somebody, you can talk to them. But when it comes to like really building friendships, I personally didn't see an opportunity. And at the time, I was going through a hard relationship with a family member. And Chemo, of course, being the extrovert he is, started talking to Jordan because they both went to Georgia State or something along those lines. They connected on something. And they were talking, and then so the door kind of opened up for Jordan and I to talk. And I think I found out that Jordan liked podcasts. She was interested in getting into it. So then, of course, that kind of opened up the door. And we started talking about some other things. I think there were like some artists we were into. And I think she was also into a certain like creative form that we also related on. And then I don't know how we got into the conversation of family. And she started opening up that she was having a problem with a family member, a rough relationship with a family member. And I was like, oh, wow, I am too. And then we started like venting to each other about it across talking about eating these Brazilian meats that were coming around in Fogo de Chao. And honestly, I was so locked in on what she was saying. I think there was one point where the room, like everyone was starting to leave and like some chairs were leaving out. And she got up and sat next to me and we just really started talking. And then she opened up. She's like, well, you should start coming to like our small group. Like, you know, we meet every now and again. And we were having a Bible study, breakfast and things like that. And she would constantly like invite me to different things. And I didn't know a majority of people in the small group, but I knew Jordan. And we would bond and talk about the things that were going on with our families and help walk each other through that. I remember one time we were having this Bible study brunch and everybody was back singing karaoke and things like that. And I'm sitting at the counter bawling my eyes out to her, talking to her. She's encouraging me. And I say that community encouraged me just because I wasn't looking for friends. Mind you, in the scenario, I was like, okay, well, we're not going to be able to really talk and really meet people for real.
Yeah.
But in the midst of that, in midst of her opening up, made me open up. And then we were able to constantly check into each other, where now Jordan is like family to me. I call her my cousin because she's just, the certain things that we relate on, the way she's poured into me, the way how I've been able to pour into her, us encourage each other, check each other, correct one another. Jordan has that free space and she's given that to me. And she's probably like my core 4 people where it's like if I can trust anybody's input or want someone's input, it's Jordan. And that I really value her in that sense, just because she's now has access to parts of me that I don't give access to anybody else.
But you know, one thing that I love that you said about you and Jordan's relationship is the fact that it's two-way street. You know, it's double-sided.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, I love the fact that you said that she shared something first. You felt comfortable enough because you did have relatability in that case, because she shared something that she was going through, and you just so happened to be going through this very same thing with a family member. And because she shared, you shared. It wasn't just one-sided, making it seem as if every time y'all meet up, it's always something she got going on, or every time y'all talk, it's always something that she's dealing with, or making it seem as if every time it is a moment where y'all are coming together, we're only talking about one person's issues. Like, that's not the case. A community should be amongst you and I. I love that community has the letters you and I in it, because it involves 2 people, more than 2 people. And you've got to be able to work through things together when you are dealing with something. And the community is able to help you walk through that.
Yeah, I think, I'm not going to lie to you, there have been times when I've been searching for community, found it. I feel like you should always test the waters, because I feel like every community is not for you. Small group, anything that you're into. And that was one of the biggest red flags to me, was when people don't share, but yet you want to pour into everybody. I don't know. It's something about that to me that feels very
red flaggy,
but prideful in a way.
Yeah.
Where it's, oh, tell me what's going on, and oh, okay, you should do this, pray into that, giving direction. There's nothing wrong with that, but when you don't share and you don't tell us what's going on with you, or even when we try to pour into you and there's always pushback, it's kind of like, well, then what is this for? Feels very one-sided.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there are a lot of times when like we want to give a lot of, don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with giving scripture, resources, things of that nature. But also I think it's really important that we listen to each other.
Yeah.
And we're also sensitive. I think that's also another thing. Like sometimes we're not sensitive to each other. I think we talked about this on a past episode where we say things like, soak in his sovereignty, just abide in the Lord. You know what I'm saying?
But
and
what
like,
does that even
let his
mean?
glory reign. And it's like, yes, great. But how do we do this? Or I am depressed. I've cried every day this week.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's like to let people feel that and be like, yeah, I understand that. And sometimes I think that comes with the reliability is, okay, yeah, I can send you also scripture, but let me call you just to check on you.
Yes.
I remember, shout out to Erin when the pandemic was happening, she was like, let's just go outside and walk. And it's kind of like we're just talking, just like, trying to get outside and little things like that. It's also, I think it's great to be able to pour into, but then even also, let me just connect with you. Let me just also check with you as well.
But I feel like that's what it is, Mia, especially when it comes to faith-based communities. Like, that is something that I do look for. If there's anybody out there that's like, well, what do I even look for in a faith-based community? Number one, like Mia said, test the waters. Don't be afraid to like put your neck out there, put your foot out there, and just see how things go. But if it's not a fit for you, find something else that works for you. For me, something that I'm looking forward to, or that I look forward in searching for when it comes to finding new communities, especially faith-based communities, is yes, the spiritual aspect. I want the spirituality. Emotionally, like, do you actually love me? Like, do you care for me for real? But also the practicality, the whole just abide, just abide.
Have you ever been swallowed?
What does this even mean?
Yes, TD. I mean, maybe. I don't know.
What does this mean? But seriously, like, there are people who a lot of times they just tend to say to themselves that there's a lot of Christianese that's being spoken about. Like, make sure you abide in the Lord, and make sure you just wrap him in, allow for him to wrap you in him. And it's like, I think that's great, but for those that have no idea what that means practically, you got to break it all the way down. So like you said, there's nothing wrong with the scripture. I will be one that tells you that I will stand by scripture. I stand behind scripture wholeheartedly. That's the basis of my life. That's the evidence of what I believe. However, let's talk about what that looks like, action steps for me to get past my situation right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I'm really trying to deal with unforgiveness, what does that look like practically for me to walk out steps to get better and better and better in my walk in my spirit life every single day? If I'm having an issue with my mother, why not pray about it, number one, figure out what it is that you are frustrated with her about, but maybe you can take the step to, maybe write her a note.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Or maybe that looks like you giving her a call. If you felt led to do something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are the practical steps? Ways in which a community has actually practically helped me. There's been moments where, and shout out to all the homeowners out there, I see you, things be breaking sometimes, right? Like appliances randomly. And there were moments where I shared with somebody at the church, like my faith-based community, and was like, hey, my dishwasher has gone out. Or like earlier this year, my AC went out. Oh, I don't wish that on nobody.
Not in the
especially
summer.
in Georgia. August, that's a joke. But like literally, I talked to somebody. They're like, hey, what's been going on with you, Meesa? And I was kind of like, if I'm being 110% honest, my AC went out. And it's very, very hot. And I have to stay at my mom's house. And she's 30 minutes away from work. This is me being transparent with them, right? They were like, oh, Jimmy fixed AC units. Like, he did that for years. And he has like just parts in his house. I called an actual company and they were going to charge me like $5,000. But after I reached out to Jimmy, somebody who I go to church with every single day, every single week, and I prayed for him and I've gotten to know his family, Jimmy came over and fixed my AC unit for the low. Community. You never know who's amongst your community that could be that helping hand to help you to get past whatever hill or mountain that you're facing in your life.
Yeah, there's a scripture in Acts, I believe it's Acts 2:42, where this is like when the early years of the church, and where it says they relied on each other for everything. And I think that's so beautiful, and I love that everyone, shout out to our church, Stockbridge Community Church, where it's like, man, the people, that's probably the most generosity I've seen outside of church, not
Yeah.
even just anywhere you care about me, but also, okay, how's your grandmother doing? Do y'all need anything? Or you're feeling sick? Do you need me to go to the store for you? I've never experienced that outside of church. I was thinking to myself as you were talking, like, what are the things that keep people, believers specifically, from opening up to one another? And I think sometimes because at the same time, while we should trust each other, that Christians are also people.
Yeah.
So therefore, we fall short and we make mistakes. And I think a lot of times we create a safe space for each other, but yet we have the gab of the mouth, and we don't create safe spaces for each other.
Yeah.
We're like, well, I mean, you did hear about what happened with so and so and so. So I mean, yeah, that's why they're not on the praise team no more. You know what I'm saying? So it's
Yeah.
kind of like I just want for us to remember, I don't know, there's just a lot of things that I know, like, we'd love to talk up everything else about, like, all these other things, but also like slander and bearing false witness and gossip, man, like we cannot keep doing those things. But then at the same time, you want somebody to be open with you. You can be open with you, and then you talking to old girl about what happened with, you know what I'm saying? You have to be like, it's just something about that. I just think that it's just so, that thing is just grieving to hear, just because when we need each other, who else are we going to go to if we don't even create safe spaces for one another?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. I was just thinking about that. I think that's really
Can
important.
I share this like really quick? I don't have a whole lot of time, but like I shared this with our mentorship group, our community that we meet with every Monday through M&M Live Radio. And I love these ladies. Shout out to every last one of those ladies. They've been so consistent and just getting so much better every single day, 1%. And we shared this on our call, and we talked about the importance of building trust, building vulnerability to create strong communities. And I talked about this little illustration here, and it's like a little, clear Ziploc bag full of like a whole bunch of random things. There's like a little curly red pipe cleaner, like a little teddy bear, a clothespin, some fuzzy balls, and like a marble. But this is an example and representation of one person that's transparent. They're open, they're willing to share, they're willing to be honest about certain things that's kind of going on in their lives. You can kind of see what's happening here because they're willing to be open and have those conversations, right? This person is transparent. We can see what's going on in their life because they're willing to share, right? Now this person is me. Now if you're looking at this, can you tell me what's on the inside? Can you tell me if they have some of the same things that were in the other bag, the clear bag?
Yeah, and those who are listening, this is a brown paper bag.
This is a brown paper bag. Thank you, Meah. This is a brown paper bag. There's things in it, and you just can't see what's actually in the bag. Why? Because they're guarded. Maybe this person is trying to keep up that perfecting mentality or reach that standard of, I'm good. I've been hurt before. I don't want nobody to know my business. I don't want them to know what's going on in my life. Like, this is what this person deals with. However, they've got issues too, just like the other person, but we don't know because they're not willing to open up. But the moment this person, brown paper bag person, lets their walls down, they're willing to go to a small group and actually share what's been happening. They're willing to try out this community just for a little bit and just see what it's like. Then we open up and we find out that inside brown paper bag person, perfection paper bag person, that there's a little red pipe cleaner in here too. There's another little blue bear here. Maybe there's some marbles in here. But little did we know, the blue bear symbolizes dealing with a difficult parent. The red ball represented having difficulty finding a job. Maybe the little fuzzy ball just represents feeling like they're not enough. But then we also find that the transparent bag person also had a curly, what is this? A curly pipe cleaner in here. And they also are dealing with a difficult parent. They also are dealing with actually hiring people for their job. This person is also dealing with feeling like they're not enough. So the more that brown paper bag person opens up to clear bag person, they realize that they have more in common. Maybe one person has gotten through dealing with a difficult parent, and because they were able to get through the other side, they were able to help the person that was dealing with it, or maybe the person that had a difficult time finding a job. They were able to share that they were having a difficult time finding a job, but then came across a person that's having a difficult time hiring people for their job. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, that's where community comes in. You never know how your iron is to sharpen another person's iron, but you're not going to know how much better you can be until you find community.
And listen, if anyone's looking for a community, I think that's one of the reasons to why we're so passionate about the movement, the community that Meesa and I have created, is because when hearing that a majority of everyone who signed up wanted community, it was beautiful to see, because therefore they're willing and they're making that effort. So I want to encourage anybody, if anyone's like thinking to themselves, man, I'm really looking for a community. I don't care if it's online. I don't care what it is. I'm just looking to connect with somebody, and I'm looking for, friendship. I'm looking for me to be able to do life with people. Man, I want to encourage you, really look into Meesa and my community, the movement, because we're really passionate about being able to connect people to each other, so therefore you're able to open up and do life with people. But listen, before we leave, man, we got some more things for you. But in the meantime, here's the next thing for you right here on You Already Know.
It's M&M Live Radio.
What was that one joint you was playing earlier? It went something like... Don't it feel good? Don't it feel good just to be